Everybody, welcome to Experience This, Season 3, Show number 14. We have a special guest with us today, of course, as we always do, Nick Gray from KeyGuides Connect. You'll hear all about what that is and what they do. But first, I'd love to introduce my co-host. So first of all, I should introduce myself, Bruce Rosard here. I'm one of the co-founders of Arrival, and I'm here with Lori Timoney from Go City and the man who doesn't need an introduction, Christian Watts from Magpie. But Christian, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Christian Watts from Magpie.
Excellent.
Yeah, just getting back from Focusrite. Yeah, which I saw you, Bruce, and many times. I think I only saw you in the pub, I think, maybe in the bar afterwards. But another excellent show. So I'm energized after that. Yeah, lots of discussion about AI and lots of good content. It was a really good show, I thought. And Laurie, how have you been?
Good. I did not go to Focusrite this week. Someone had to stay back and keep the home fires burning, so that's what I did. But I'm really excited to be here today because I used to be a tour guide, Nick, and man, I tell you, I could have used this platform. So I'm really looking forward to hearing all about it.
That's great news. That's great news.
Yeah, Nick, do you want to give us an intro and tell us all?
Sure thing.
Not life story, but something interesting and what you're doing and why and all this good stuff.
Keep it interesting. That's the key information. Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Nick Gray. I'm British by birth, but I've moved around the world a lot. So I've moved country 22 times actually, and I've lived in 11 different countries. Moved home 34 times now, I think. IKEA Ninja is my ulterior persona. But so lived all over the world, started working in the travel industry at 18 in Turkey as a rep, and got familiar with guides way back then. That was 30 years ago now. And kind of continued in the industry, maneuvered around a few different things in ski industry as well, which is a connection I have with Bruce there. Lived in France and Canada for the ski industry and all around for the others. And then I worked for a company called EF Education First for about 14 years after doing an MBA at a business school called INSEAD. So I went to university and did mechanical engineering and never became an engineer. Then I went to business school and did an MBA, and I've sort of maintained a life in travel and education.
It happens.
Yeah. And in EF as well, I worked a lot with the tours part. That's the bit the Americans mainly know is the EF tours, but there's also a lot of other parts of EF. So I've got to travel around the world with them. Unfortunately, the pandemic put a bit of a spoke in the wheels for working with EF because students stopped traveling, as I'm sure you guys are familiar.
Everybody stopped traveling, Nick.
Yeah. And I was in Hong Kong at the time with my new family, and Hong Kong's a very expensive place to not have a job. So we decided we had to move. My now ex-wife is Norwegian, so we moved back to Norway. And that's where I am now based, in Oslo in Norway. So that's kind of my life story. And then I worked for a company.
But hold on. So Hong Kong is expensive. So let's move to Oslo.
Yeah, exactly. We had to choose a cheap country to move to. So we chose Norway. Yeah.
But it's only expensive if you don't have a job.
Exactly. Exactly. No, I didn't have a job, and no one had a job in the pandemic. But that was the thing. It was move somewhere, and I love Norway, so I'm a total fanboy of Norway right now, and I can be their best ambassador. But I wanted to move here, but I didn't speak Norwegian, and that was the reason kind of we didn't move, because I couldn't get a job. But then it was like, well, it's pandemic, no one's got a job, so I might as well come and learn the language and try and get up and running, which I've managed to do, and it's 5 years now I've lived here. So
excellent.
Yeah,
very good.
So and I asked you this before we started, KeyGuides and KeyGuides Connect. Can you, because you are head of both, right? So can you just give us a quick differentiation between the two?
Absolutely. So KeyGuides. So what happened? I'll try and keep this as brief as possible. I was working for a company called Koroni Tumlari, a big DMC, and I was country manager here in Norway. And that wasn't a really good fit for me because it's a very big company, very bureaucratic. And I am like more of a startup person. I like things to move fast. I'm very nerdy. I'm very nerdy about technology, AI, etc. And I wanted to do something more that I could have a bit more impact on. and I was looking for jobs, and this guy comes up to me and sort of pitched me on this idea of private tour guiding company, high end, etc. And he was so energetic. So he's a lovely, lovely man called Knut. And I was just like, I loved his energy, but I couldn't get on board exactly with what he was wanting to do because I know the industry, and I was like, this is not going to work as a business plan as it is. And so I sort of went away, and he was like, I want you to come and work with me. So I was super honored, but like also like I'm not sure this idea is going to work. But I went away, and I had this idea in my head all along that the guiding industry in particular is lacking this ability to connect. Like independent contractors within the travel industry, it's a real struggle to connect the dots with them because most big companies, they don't want to hire them permanently, but they want to control them. And so I'm very aware of this challenge. And I was thinking about how can we make the connection better, put in more than just, are you available on that time? Do you speak that language? And, are you in that location? Is there a way in which we can make this a better experience for the travelers and a better experience for the guides and cut out some of the middlemen as well? Because as you're probably familiar, there's a lot of middlemen in between consumer booking a travel experience and the guide often. So that was the idea. And I went and put a business plan in front of him and he said, I love it. Let's do it. So that's what we've.
When was that, Nick? Sorry,
that was a year ago now. So it was just over a year ago in September last year. So I came to him with the plan. We had we have a tech team, we have development, and we put out scope, and we've already launched the MVP sort of soft launch, stealth launch, whatever you want to call it, earlier this year in April, May. We tested on a lot of guides in Oslo, and now we're expanding throughout Europe and the world. So it's verified guides on the platform at the moment, but essentially what we're building is a connection engine. So we're connecting people to the guides, both travel partners and consumers.
What I just heard, I might be reading the wrong line between the lines. It's verified guides now, but you're then going to kind of build more of a platform marketplace. Does that mean it won't be verified guides in the future?
We're building a system right now for verified guides. That will be KeyGuides Connect for sure. The technology we're building is a platform, a toolbox essentially for. It can be used by lots of different people to connect with consumers as well. So there is a chance that we will take the same technology if we nail it with the guides, and then expand elsewhere. But like the technology itself, the framework, we're focused on getting it right for verified guides.
For the tech, right? But
yeah,
if I'm an unverified guide, I just like to do tours around Boulder or Colorado.
Right.
I may or may not be allowed on the platform in the future.
Yeah, we may build a different platform for people doing experiences in the future that is with the similar technology, but it's separated from
for
this.
The unverified
reason for that is legitimacy is a key component of now booking an experience, and reviews, as you guys are, I'm sure I've talked about a lot. Reviews are now becoming less and less reliable with bots and things writing lots of fake reviews and stuff. And therefore, we decided to go the route of like, if they're a member of an association, then we can verify them through the associations. We can use that as the way in which we can verify them to start with, and then build in endorsements for them that legitimize them even further beyond that. But like to have a framework to sit within legitimacy, that's what we've kind of focused on. And we've got really good contacts now with a lot of the associations who are keen to work with us, the FEG and WFTGA, which are the two big federations that run the guide associations.
So those are.
I've got questions around that. Sorry, Bruce, but let's come back to that, because some people are going to kick and scream and say just because they're certified doesn't mean they're good. But let's come back to that. So I just want to get a bit of background. So Focusrite, everyone talks about trip planners, usually in a negative context, right? That everyone's tried it and they always fail. What's the history of this space? Because we had a roundtable actually at Focusrite with tours by locals and with locals are there, but there's been lots of P2P over the last 15 years in this space. What's the sort of history, and has anybody succeeded, and why are you different? And because a lot of people would say this has been tried and it doesn't work. I don't think that's a good argument, because times change and things change. But
I think the key difference is when we're trying not to be a marketplace, we're trying to connect the actual human. Like our vision is connecting humans via experience, and not experience in the travel industry word of experience, but literally through experience. So connecting humans together is the idea. So we're trying to get as close as possible between the two. And as we move forward, we're going to be doing deep profiling and matching tools with AI and stuff, which is something that is not even close to being used by others. The idea that you're connecting with a person rather than the experience, this idea, the authenticity of that experience is what's going to matter more and more, in my opinion, in the future. We're gonna crave the authenticity, and we're going to expect the authenticity and more personalized, and that just has to come from the person delivering the experience. So the closer we can get to that, the better. We're not ring fencing the guides in a similar way to other platforms do. And we're also keeping our commissions much lower because we want to be able to scale rather than take profit away from them. So that's kind of where we're aiming to be different. Of course, we've got to change we've got to disrupt a little bit to do that, and that's a challenge, but yeah, that's kind of where we see ourselves as different. And we've also focused on being B2B focused first, so working with travel agents, tour operators and stuff to be able to get their guests in front of the right people, rather than a B2C play, which is what most of the others have done first. Having said that, we've realized we need to build some B2C functionality too, just to make sure that the guides feel they're getting exposed to the world. And so we've already built an MCP server and have the ChatGPT app ready to go when they're deploying and stuff. So we have all these things kind of in the pipeline, but it's more of a B2B play right now for us. And the idea is to connect these people. That's where we see ourselves as different.
When I think about your competition, because I was having to think about that earlier today, what is your competition?
Mm-hmm.
To me, it seems like it's more of the informal network. So kind of like that DMC that has the list of guides, or let's face it, if these guides, especially the licensed guides, you think about London, like what it takes to get licensed as a guide, they have, they're known across multiple players, right? Multiple businesses that they're on the list and so forth. So you're having to combat kind of that sort of informal network that's really, it's hard to know because it's not online, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
And I know some guides that are a part of WhatsApp groups, and that's kind of one of the things that guides use when they're trying to get jobs and such. So how do you position yourself? So let's say I'm a guide in London and I've been around for like 100 years and I'm all over the place and people call me all the time and I'm busy. What's the reason why they want to be on your platform, or do they want to be on your platform?
Well, I hope so. For start, is the answer to begin with. But the idea is that we have the tooling that they can use their own calendar, for example, their own Google Calendar, integrate that with the system, and it synchronizes. So their availability is directly linked into their own calendar. They don't have to keep updating multiple different calendars. They can manage it through one place, which is their profile within our portal. And then they can also have access to multiple different partners through that same place, right? So there is a B2C functionality, but there's also, we're going to have job boards for multiple different travel partners to be able to post jobs to, so they can manage their work directly through that. There's a direct payment link in there so that it's connected with Stripe. They have their own individual Stripe account in there, which means they get paid directly through the platform. So it's a direct booking. It's essentially a little mini website for them with a payment portal with integrated calendars that they get for free. We add a platform fee whenever there's a booking, but they get to dictate their rate that they get booked at. They get to dictate their booking conditions as well. If the bookings are through a travel partner, then we allow the travel partner to decide the rate and the booking conditions, but the guides will decide whether they take those jobs. So that's the similar fashion.
What's your platform fee, Nick?
The other 15% is what we're putting on top of whatever they're charging. That's what we've started with. For travel partners, we're still testing out different opportunities, because maybe they want a subscription service, maybe they want per booking fee. So there's multiple ways we could go around that, and we can obviously, for big contracts, we can negotiate different rates and things. But we've given them tooling to be able to book guides more easily and find the availability of the guides, and moving forwards, search the guides out, refine the search to better match with their customers. And for the guides, we've given a toolbox of features, including tour creation and booking and synchronized calendars and things. So that's where it's more of a toolbox than it is a sort of a booking platform, so to speak. And yeah, I think the guide in London, for example, we've also made an API connection where we can connect into websites like associations websites, so they'll be directly bookable through that website as well, or through multiple websites. So there's like multiple tools involved where we expose them to the world and get them more opportunity to be booked. And hopefully, you're absolutely right, the biggest competitor is those informal networks and the existing structures of how they've been booked and how people are doing things. Having worked for Corennington Lorry, a big company, I know the mess that is and there's so many resources being put towards just organizing guides with emails, Excel sheets, lots of different calendars, tons of phone calls backwards and forwards, and lots of mess. So we're trying to clean that up and make it much more accessible.
A couple questions. One, so if the guides are paying a platform fee, right?
No, we're charging a platform fee on top of whatever they get paid. So they set their rate, they get, and then we put a fact.
Okay, so they set the rate. I say $100 an hour. It's a 4-hour tour.
It's $115 get charged, and 15 goes, and it's very transparent.
It's charged to the customer, but are you also then charging the tour operator or association, whoever is looking to hire those guides?
So yeah, if they put a booking, if they put a job up on the job board and say $100 booking, then we'll charge a 15% platform fee on top of that. Is the idea?
Are you getting on both ends? Is my question.
They would pay the platform fee, not the guide.
So it's just an extra 15% period. Exactly. It's not like there's anything else. Yeah.
Exactly. The one thing we've done, which is similar to Tours by Locals, is we've said so we've also built an affiliate link system in, like Tours by Locals has. So if a travel agent just wants to send a link to someone to say, book this guide and get 10% back, then 10% is also taken out of the guide's fee. But that's because we're driving traffic from there. So it's similar to Tours by Locals, but it's more transparent, and it's not 25% on everything plus 4%. It's just 15% platform fee on top, and a 10% kickback if it's booked through an affiliate.
Which sounds a bit like 25%.
It's not 25%, but in that sense it is, but it's not 25% on every booking.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, if there's a third party needs to get paid some commission, then there's 10 more. Yeah.
But is it like? Let's clarify this. I think it's important. I'm sorry, but because I thought originally, 15% the guide pays, 15% the tour operator pays, but you're saying no, it's one or the other. So where's the 25% come from, Christian?
The 10% affiliate.
If there's an affiliate
involved, they get 10.
There's an affiliate booking
out of the tour guide's piece.
Yeah. So if a travel agent sends a booking with their referral link, if they send a customer, an end consumer through to the guide's profile and they book $100 booking, then we get 15% on top, the $15 on top, and the guide will get $90, and the affiliate will get $10.
Got it.
So I had a good meeting actually at Focusrite with a guy who was talking about dating apps as well. Not that you've mentioned dating apps, but you kind of have. And he was actually doing it for reviews. He was trying to match people, kind of personas. Mm-hmm. If Johnny is going to Oslo and he's kind of like me, then I want to look at Johnny's reviews of restaurants, whatever. And I asked him, "Are you just studying all the dating apps?" And he said, "Absolutely, that's how we do it." Are you doing the same? Is this kind of a dating app play for you for the matching piece?
I think I have very futuristic mind, and I'm totally convinced that the type of technology we're building will end up being the type of thing that takes out Tinder for sure. Because I believe that all of us will have our own individual LLMs, our own individual data structures, which will be vectorized database. We'll be buying vectorized database storage from iCloud or whatever soon enough, and that will contain our contextual information, which people will be able to search and match, and these LLMs will or agents will be able to match them, and then you'll get just presented your best match options based on your preferences, whether it's HR for recruitment, whether it's Tinder type preferences, and probably you'll get given a load of AI pictures to swipe to see what you prefer in terms of visuals, and then you'll get matched up with your best options based on your profile. So
am I going to check a box to allow this?
Yeah, of course.
I made an argument last night that I'm now stuck in ChatGPT because of the memory, and actually it's not portable. Am I going to check that to make that searchable now? If I want to date someone?
I think this is going to be, I think that will be a massive industry, is the data transmission, because the transaction value of that data transmission will become a huge industry in itself. So yes, you will have to give access to your own data set, but I think there's going to be value then within your competencies, skills, and profile to giving access. There'll be certain things like your medical records and stuff which will go into the central databases. You'll of course want that because you'll get proactive healthcare. But in terms of these things, yeah, of course, the tooling will be what you want to give access to out to the world. And in our world, just to center it back, because I'm not losing sight of what we're building, in our world, it's all about matching up the best guides with the best experiences, right? So also, I really hope that what we're going to build is like where the guides become really attractive. It becomes a really attractive job to do, because you get to also have some preferences on what type of customers you want to meet, what type of people, and the fact that it matches you well will mean it's a more meaningful experience for both sides and build empathy. I'm a bit of a hippie at heart, by the way, so I could go off on that tangent there.
It's what Chesky wants, isn't it? This is what Chesky talks about he'd like to have. I don't think he's building this, but yeah. Go on, Laurie.
I've been thinking a little bit about, you talked about verifiable, and obviously you mentioned that you're using the associations to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm going on to, your website as it exists right now, and I recognize you're kind of in a beta place to some degree.
I was polite, but yes. Thank you.
Are you going to have reviews? Because I would have no idea. So just because the guide says it's verifiable or verified, that doesn't mean I like this guide. It doesn't mean I think he's a good guide or she's a good guide. And I thought to myself, okay, well, reviews would be helpful for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Plus video potentially of just like a snippet to show the guide in action, giving some kind of a tour, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So how am I going to know whether or not I even like this guide?
So right now, you're absolutely right, Laurie. Right now, we're in that stage where we haven't got that depth of profiling. What we're building, and we should have hopefully, well, I don't want to overpromise, by the end of this year is the plan, but we're going to have what we're calling an endorsement engine. So what the idea there is, we're going to have people be able to say, like on LinkedIn, can you endorse my work? And that's both previous customers, that's companies they've worked with, and other guides. So we're going to build out a profiling, and that's going to be the first step towards this kind of contextual database of searchable stuff, where people look for information on a guide and they can see, and we can look at what people have said about them as words and pick from that. But also that gives us the ability to then legitimize them even further in terms of their quality of their delivery. And that's something that's only become available with this new technology of the new LLMs and stuff, because before it had to be 5-star, out of 5 stars or 6, 7, I had I've got little kids, I had to put that in there. But these things of the ratings, now it can be much more, how is this person? What are they like? What's their vibe and stuff? So we're moving towards that fast. But right now, the truth is, all the guides we have on there, we know, because we haven't got like thousands. We're still at a stage where we can name all the guides and we kind of know them.
Right, and you could be opening Pandora's box, right? Because a lot of tour operators, they have their premier guides that they've been working with for years, but they don't have enough guides, so they hire new people off the street who really don't have the experience, et cetera, and
Mm-hmm.
they want to grow their business, so they need to get more guides. I want to go back to a question that you already answered, but I'm not sure the answer's what I understood from the beginning. I found you, Nick, on a LinkedIn post, other than the greatest resume in the world post that you had a few years ago, which was super cool. For anyone who hasn't seen it, look up Nick Gray on LinkedIn and find his post on that. That was really cool. But it looked like you were building B2C. Like that was the thing. It was a B2C because you talked about, and others on your team were talking about your linkage into ChatGPT. So I could search for, I want to do a tour in Paris, blah, blah, blah. And you were able to put your guides into that search. And I'm not sure exactly what that looked like, how far that could develop. And I remember when we spoke after that, it's like B2C, that's just crazy. And now you are leading with B2B, but I don't think you flipped it.
Yeah. I can answer that. Yeah. So you guys were talking about it with the Groupon people about the app inside of ChatGPT. So to create that tooling, and you all talked about it and said how it didn't work, but which it doesn't work very well. But the thing is, it's not public either yet. So the app's SDK in OpenAI is kind of there for developers. We've already put together that tooling because we were going to do a B2C solution that involved chatbot because we already have this AI expertise in-house. So we were like, okay, we can do this quite straightforward, relatively. So we've got it ready. We've got an MCP server ready to go. It's basic. It's very MVP version, but we are already first in line. We're probably going to be one of the first companies, I think, worldwide to have people as an individual with their actual availability based on their own personal calendar, selling product, being tours or their time through ChatGPT, findable and searchable through ChatGPT. So yeah, it's cool. It's very cool that we build it, and that's what you found in that LinkedIn post. Is very exciting, but for us, it's not the key part of what we want to do because the industry itself, as Laurie pointed out, is like most of the guides are getting booked through B2B. They have the existing structure. So what we're trying to do is build all the tools that will work for them, and the same functionality. It's not very good. The apps SDK, I hope no one from OpenAI is listening because I don't want to criticize them, but the apps SDK is not working particularly well at the moment. So what we've done is we've gone back into Copilot mode, which is the development platform for the chatbots and things, and we've built it better. So we've got a chatbot solution that actually is working well to be able to find guides. So we can deploy that on our website or on other people's websites if they want to, with an affiliate link, so they can find the guides through those tools as well. So again, it's sort of B2B2C in that sense. Like then we're building the tooling to deploy on other people's sites potentially, or guiding associations websites, for example.
That's the B2B2C.
Yeah.
The big opportunity is just building the platform for all the companies that hire guides, whether it's associations, but more so the tour operators. I mean, it's really the tour operators, right, that are hiring guides.
Yeah.
And they have their list of preferred guides. I assume in KeyGuides Connect, if I'm a tour operator on walks, I can have my premier, the guides that I want all selected in KeyGuides Connect first. These are my preferreds, right? And then once they run out, because they're all busy, I can look at non-preferreds or whatever.
Exactly, and you can see their availability as well. So yeah, you can sort of deduce these things through how they presented themselves, if they're available, but importantly as well, it gives the guides more power in a way to also decide on work opportunities and who they work with, and get more exposure.
Right. They might get a request from an operator like, no, I don't want to work with that operator, and then the guide can set their price. Or the operator sets the price.
The guides can set their price, but the operator sets prices on what work they offer, right? So if they and that they may have to improve their offer if there's more competition out there. They may and then the rates will become more standardized, more fair in the market, because
don't use those words in public. Everyone's just going to think you're driving to zero on that.
What are you doing? Dynamic pricing of guides? Is that the next step?
Oh, geez. No, you said don't use it in public, and I'm on a podcast. But thanks. No, but I think a fair pricing, not driving to zero, quite the opposite actually. If anything, I've worked for companies that which companies I work for that are very cost conscious, so we say, and make sure that because they have the volume, they can be the power play and keep costs low. Whereas actually, I think if the people involved know more of the options, and it also becomes more of a meritocracy as well. Back to Laurie's point about quality, it's like the most quality people are going to be in high demand. And right now, most of the people we've interacted with in the guiding industry, they're like, I don't need more work. I've got my whole calendar booked up for the whole year. And I'm like, yeah, that's because you're head of the association. You've worked for 100 years in the industry, and you're an expert. It's like the new guides coming through need help.
So you're going to have an algorithm. I imagine you're going to you're going to have an algorithm, and then the guides that are converting are going to float to the top, just like any other platform does, or?
We haven't got there yet. We're definitely going to keep a track of data, obviously, and who's booking what and where the popular places are, because what we want to do is we want to help improve the industry, right? So we want to help places that got lots of demand. We can start pushing and saying, like, okay, either, you know, increase the number of guides or bring in more guides or whatever it is. Like, we've got ways in which we can do that. But yeah, I don't know, the algorithm wise. Yeah, there's going to be lots of different ways in which we're using algorithms, but I think it's more around, for me, it's more around the sort of dream future is more around how we match them. And the algorithm there is going to be this contextual search. It's going to be, rather than selecting, you know, specific keywords or whatever, it's going to be like, what is the vibe of this person and how does that match with what the consumer needs? I think that's going to be really exciting, and that's definitely coming in the future. It's just, you know, we want to be the ones to build it.
It's the vibe algorithm. I guess that's the future of this stuff. We
The
had
vibe,
this discussion
yeah.
at Focusrite, Bruce, and in the roundtable, and I've got to stop talking about OTAs getting disintermediated. But there is a problem with intermediaries. I think we all agree. But you're going one step further, kind of. And Bruce made the point in the roundtable that there aren't very many brands in experiences, which we all agree, right? There aren't. And I actually think ChatGPT becomes the brand, the trusted brand.
Mhm.
And it's all about getting from customer to the final experience. The final experience is the tour guide on the ground doing the walking tour or whatever. And you're actually going right through the tour operator as well then, which is disruptive, right? But actually, I don't care about the tour, whatever the local tour company is called. I just want to go with Giuseppe to walk around Florence and eat pizza. And if you help me do that, it's better for the customer. The tour company's not very happy. But
well, okay, so I can take that because I agree, and I know that we're building something that is disruptive, and I know it'll probably piss off a lot of tour operators, travel agents, and things. But my argument is, if I'm a travel agent sitting somewhere around the world and I'm putting together a tour for someone, and I can say to them, hey, you know, like, I've got your really nice sort of setup. I've got hotels, coaches, like the restaurants are going to be great. Like all of these things, which are standardized products, I can be confident in their delivery. I can be confident in what those standard things are going to be, whether it's a 5-star hotel or a 3-star hotel, whether it's a deluxe, you know, gourmet dining experience or whatever. All of those, and like Mercedes, you know, coach or you know, whatever. All of these things are very standardized, whereas the person, the human-to-human connection, which all of us know, everyone in the industry knows, that is the key to your travel experiences, is the people you spend them with. Like, it's never how good was the coach. It's always like, how was the experience with the people around you, and how was the experience, especially when it comes to guiding, how was the experience with the guide? And those are what can really elevate experiences. So, and everyone knows that, including the travel agent who's selling to their customers. So they want to give the best possible experience. But I know for sure, most of the time, it's by the time the guide's actually being booked by an end person, they have no connection whatsoever to who's going to stand in front of that guide. And they are just literally looking for availability, language, and location, and hopefully good quality. And they're, even in the case of they know all these guides, it's like they still don't know if they're a good match. So as a salesperson, as a travel agent, if I could give them the opportunity to choose their guide and get a kickback for it, great. Like, that's perfect. That's the icing on the cake. It's like, here you go, you've got an opportunity. I don't really care about the brand of, this sounds stupid, but I don't care about the brand of KeyGuides Connect in terms of, it's not about our brand. It's about, we're even saying powered by KeyGuides Connect at the bottom. It's the guide that gets the exposure. It's the ability to find those people who match well and put them together. We're taking a risk because people could say, okay, 15% platform fee, I don't want to pay that, I'll go around the back. Of course, that could happen, and then we may have to build in a different business model. We may have to build subscriptions and stuff. But I think the risk is worth it, because I believe that is where we're going as humans. I think we're getting more and more we're going to have higher and higher expectation of individualized, personalized experiences. And as you said, Chris, the closer you can get to the human connection, the better.
Yeah, I mean, this is so interesting. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Laurie.
I was just thinking, I I believe I also saw when I was on your site this morning that you are allowing the guides to create tours, and then you're offering the tours. So you're not just selling guides, so to speak, you're also selling tours, right? And are the guides the ones creating the tour? So they're essentially saying, like, I'm selling you a tour of Florence. It isn't just like, I'm Giuseppe and I'm going to give you whatever tour you want. It's more, I'm selling you this tour of Florence. So they're specializing, and you're selling the tours as well. Maybe you could fill in the blanks on that.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that the key thing is we're not selling the tours, or that's not how we're looking at it anyway. We're not selling it. The guide's selling it. But what we're giving them the opportunity to do is sell product. So to start with, our very MVP was you sell per hour. So you choose your per hour fee, and then you like sell per hour your guiding services. And then what we realized was, of course, they want to be able to give some more sort of personality towards their product that they're selling to the world. So we gave them all the option to have a tour that they can build, and it's quite straightforward. It's all I hear about in tour tech at the moment is tour itinerary creation or these crazy itinerary tools, but it's actually not that difficult to build those tools into a chatbot. So we did that, and we gave them the opportunity to build a tour with a chatbot and price it how they want to, and that just gives them a bit more freedom. So they can put a bunch of tours now onto their profile, and then they've got a product to sell. Some don't want to sell by the hour; they want to sell a tour. They can do both, or one or the other. But yeah, so that's more where we see it. It's more of an opportunity for them to expose things and standardize. But of course, they can still be booked by the hour and have a tour with Giuseppe for 3 hours and just spending time with Giuseppe. So
Giuseppe's getting all this free marketing today, isn't he? He's gonna be getting.
I don't know why everybody from Italy is named Giuseppe.
I don't think
really what you're talking about, it's very much like tours by locals or with locals or Airbnb experiences. It's just individual tour guides who are building tours. So in those cases, though, they're all building tours already, or with locals helps those tour guides build those tours. But it's basically the same thing, right? It's, hey, here's Giuseppe. Since we'll keep it because we all want to go to Italy, I guess. And whatever platform he's on, or now more and more the tour company is on, can get booked. And whether you actually go with Giuseppe or not, who knows? Your point is we don't need that tour company anymore. You can just go right to the tour guide. The tour guide can either be rented by the hour, or he has or she has 3, 4, 5, 10, whatever number of experiences. So it's not that much different than those P2P platforms. And I know that's who you looked at least at the beginning, as part of your competition. And it's just another distribution channel for the tour guides, right?
It's a good AI play, though, isn't it? I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know you might want to answer that, but
I was looking for an answer, Christian, but that's okay.
No, but I'm going to pass it on to Nick to answer. But we've had this discussion about the 5,000 Italy tours, right, in Rome, whatever, and the 3,000 on Colosseum, and I've been talking a lot about how does the AI choose, because they're all 4.96.
How does the OTA choose? Forget it.
Yeah. But so you need to differentiate. That's clear, and you differentiate through better reviews. But actually, if Giuseppe's on there with a profile and all these reviews on the specific tour guide, that's how the AI could choose, especially if the AI's got access to the actual
personalization, Christian.
There you go. See,
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. I don't want to sort of overpromise that, but that's what we're building for. So like it is going to happen that way, and those 5,000 tours will become irrelevant how many they are, because in the end it'll be what's the best fit, and you'll be presented with the best options based on you get deeper and deeper into the like, what do you want, how do you want it. And of course a lot of people are just going to be like, I don't know what I want, I have no idea, I don't know who I want. Giuseppe sounds like a fun name, cool, I'll pick it, or the good looking picture, whatever. There's going to be those kind of decisions, of course, but I think we're going to become more and more accustomed to also our agents that are going to work for, I hate to get too futuristic here, but our agents within a couple of years, our Alexas and I'm just going to set that off, our Alexas and Google Homes and things, they're going to want to they're going to know us, they're going to know us very well, and we're probably going to have the tools of ChatGPT and things. It's going to know our preferences. So it's going to go and look for what's the best fit here, and that tooling is all got to be in place. So it doesn't really matter the volume of stuff. It's because it's going to search contextually and pop up the best options. To Laurie's point, that's where we will need algorithms still to decide if it's super broad, what are the ones that are going to get exposed first, and how are they going to be exposed, and what's the fair way to do that, and how do we make sure that, you know, like the new guide that has got no reviews yet because they're just brand new into the industry, but they're incredible. Like, how do we make sure they get some uplift and airtime and things? And that's where I think marketing's going as well. Like all of those things with marketing, like this is where I'm going to be out of my depth if we get into this discussion, but marketing wise, you know, agentic engine optimization instead of search engine optimization, that's going to become a real big business, I think. And that's where these, you know, tools are going to have to be worked out. How do we make sure these things get exposure? And I don't know the answers yet to that at all. So
what's going to be the tricky part is when you decide you really need to make money. And then you're going to have to, you know, float whoever it is that's converting to the top of the funnel so you make money. And you're going to have to balance that whole, I want Giuseppe to get airtime and I want to make money, right?
Well, Google did it, right?
Yeah.
Well, Google has an auction. I think Viator is the more relevant.
Yeah,
They do it, right? They do it now. They do it. If you pay them a little bit more, you get on top.
Nick can have an auction. That's fine.
Yeah,
we may. I really, we haven't planned that far ahead yet. I think what we're trying to do is get volume and get and have people use the platform as a tooling rather than like we're trying not to be, like I said before, we're trying not to be a marketplace. We're trying not to be tours by locals, get your guide, etc. Because I want to connect the humans. Like I think that's where the future is, and I think you know there's a real value in that because people understand. Maybe not new travelers then understand it, but most people understand that the people connection is really, really important.
yeah.
Does Tinder have an auction? Can I like boost my profile on Tinder to be like?
Oh,
That would be hard for you.
Okay, so I mentioned before we got on the call, I'm divorced. Yes, it does. I know a lot about
it. I said you probably have to pay.
I wish I didn't know about this, but yeah, it does. I'm the in-house expert in my company because everyone else has been married for their whole life, basically. So.
Does it make me sound better, or does it just push my profile nearer to the top or nearer to
you can do all sorts of things. Tinder's a lot of, they're maximizing their income on everything. Don't worry.
That company knows how to make money, probably.
Increase my height a little bit, and
you know, I was having a conversation with Marius yesterday, founder of I Wander, about, and he does self-guided audio tours, right? Plus. And we were talking about how many people, when they travel, actually take a tour. The number he threw out was like 3% out of that 90, out of the 100% of people that go visit, and only 3% are even taking tours. So, you know, we spend all of our time thinking about tour operators. And what Nick is doing, I think, two things. One, you could disrupt and bypass tour operators for that direct AI to tour guide. But number two, I feel like the bigger play for you is the B2B side. Every tour operator, every associate, all these people need a tool like KeyGuides Connect to find more guides once their guides are full or what have you, or even to manage their existing guides.
Yeah,
right?
that's
So if you just give the tour operators a platform to manage their guides, I mean, is it worth 15%? I don't know, but it's certainly worth something significant, right?
I also don't know how much it's worth, and that's also why I'm tentative to say it's 15%. I think that's a fair amount because I know that we have paid with Curating Tonight. We were paying a premium for someone to organize. So we had someone with a WhatsApp group. Basically, we paid them a premium for the guys. So, and I know it wasn't an insignificant amount, but it's also only a percentage on what they're paying the guides. It's not a percentage on top of what they're charging to the end consumer.
Right, not the charge.
They get to still decide how much they charge for that service. I think you're right. Like there is a small proportion of people taking that travel that take these guides. And in fact, I was in Charleston in South Carolina last week with tourpreneurs, if you've come across those guys, and in their tour week. And I had a debate about the guides being the best guides not being human in 5 years or whatever. And it was a really fun debate because I'm
sure you were very popular.
Well, I was very much on the side of the humans winning, and we won because it was quite an easy audience. But no, it was really interesting because it was like these audio guides and all these tools that are coming out. I mean, yes, there's some really cool, and there's going to be some amazing technology coming out in the next few years that is going to blow us all away, I'm sure. But I'm so strongly believing in the human connection that I think there's something really magical around the way in which a guide can control group dynamics, can have that big positive impact, understand emotional and cultural context of a specific group, not just in a specific country or whatever. So all of that is where the magic is still going to happen, and I think that will become the premium thing within the industry. Like, it will be the human connection because everything else is becoming standardized. I could get onto a whole rant about customer service as well, because I feel like people just don't understand management of expectations right, and that is the key to everything in terms of the service industry, is like how the expectations are set. And if you can understand what you're going to meet as a human being, the authenticity and everything else, then it's much better.
I've got one more point, because we're getting light on time, and then Lori, add yours and take as much time as you want, and Christian as well. But so this will be my one last point, and then I'll hand it over. DMCs, and you worked for Quoney for years, so you really understand the DMC market. As we start to look into multi-day and how multi-day tours work, it's the name operators that do have brands. I mean, there's big brands in multi-day that mean a lot. But the fact is, they're not operating the tours. It's the DMCs that are operating the tours in destination. No one knows who they are. And the difference then, so they book the lodging and the transportation and the activities, et cetera. But where's the guide coming from? And if I'm Intrepid and I care about my brand, I want to make sure that guide is an Intrepid type of guide. But I'm not hiring that guide. The DMC is. So is there a play for you there? And is that a big need that the big, the billion-dollar tour operators like Tauk and Colette and Globus have, or they've already got it nailed down?
So there's two things there. There's one is the tour leader who joins the tour, or tour director, depending on where you are in the world. But like the person who joins the multi-day tour and stays with the group throughout. That's one type of role in this, which is similar, but it's not the same as the tourist guide, 3 hours tour guide experience in a specific city or a specific place, historical place, for example. So there's two things. One is the tourist guide part, which definitely there's a need which we've built for already to help them be able to book the tourist guide part. The tour leader, tour director type thing, I am totally convinced, and that's right back to the beginning when we talked about, could this be a platform for other people as well? I think that's one of the things that we could also build, is like a separate platform for tour leader, tour director type of work as well, because there's a massive challenge with allocation. I used to manage all the teams that manage tour directors across EF. So that was like 1,500 tour directors around the world. And the allocations teams for that is such a headache, because, getting the right mix of like how many travelers they have on each group, where their groups back to back, which cities they end up in, and how we minimize the amount of travel they had to do between groups and things. All of that is a headache, and it's solvable. That's really easily solvable with an algorithm and all their allocations, their own schedules available. So we could build that tooling very easily, I think. But we haven't focused on that yet, because we want to get it right for the tourist guides.
Of course, some of those companies like Colette, I know, used to, there's, Tauk, they have their own tour directors, right? They train them, that's their group, and that's who they traditionally go with. And I imagine Intrepid for sure has specific guides that they may even be employed by them, who knows, right? But they're going to make sure that they have their their people that they need. I actually just had one more point as well, and or I guess question. So I 100% agree that B2B is your play, and that's going to be what drives the business forward, I would imagine. However, when I think about a B2C opportunity, I also could foresee you could potentially be partnering with somebody like a Mindtrip, who, somebody's traveling and they want to now book a guide. Like, it becomes part of the whole process of building your itinerary. And now you maybe you want to just choose a guide. You don't even want to think about a tour company, for instance. Have you given any thought to trip planning and how that would potentially intersect with what you're doing?
For sure. We haven't reached out to anyone. I just wanted to address the last thing you said beforehand about the companies having their own set of tour directors, etc. They do, but they don't have the tools to do the allocation, the management of that work. And the tour directors are all independent contractors, more or less. And that is a problem for them, because managing those tour directors, managing them is not allowed in most countries, especially in Europe. So that they do have a challenge there. And that is where we could actually solve that challenge through them having a profile on KeyGuides Connect, and then intersecting with the technology. So that there is a play there as well to those companies. We haven't solved it yet, but that for sure, I know from EF days and Coronic Malari days, that would be a really nice solution. So yeah, but in terms of the mind trip and itinerary builders and things, I think so. I mean, I can imagine, I imagine a dream of a future where you get to the end of your flight booking and you have car rental in place. Do you want to book a hotel while you're there? And do you want to meet, experience? Do you want to have an experience while you're there? And then you have a chat bot which pulls up a bunch of the guides and things. So like even down to that level, because like, you know where you're going, and if you go and meet someone there, like we've all experienced this, you go and meet a local with locals, tours by locals, they have a name like that for a reason. And it's true that when you meet an actual local in a place, it brings the place alive. I remember being in Turkey when I was 18 and meeting a local family, and it was one of the most magical experiences of my life. I went into their house, got to see like real life in that place, and it was magical. So the local experience person is going to be the premium. And I think that I can see that happening in those type of places, like you're at the point of sale when you're booking your trip. So the mind trips and the itinerary builders, honestly, I have some feelings about them in terms of like what Google just released a few weeks ago, and the fact that like those tools are, Mind Trip is a really nice tool, but it's like Google released something recently which was very, very dangerous for them, I would say. I shouldn't probably get into
I was just thinking about the idea of it, right? Not necessarily Mind Trip specifically, but just the opportunity. Because I know that when I was traveling in Spain and Italy, I was using a combination of ChatGPT and Mind Trip. And honestly, if I had the opportunity to book somebody right then and there just to take me around for a couple of hours, I probably would have done it.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like getting into choosing a tour and tours leave at this time and all that kind of thing. I didn't want to deal with that.
So we've built relationships already with hotels here in Oslo to have a QR code that they have the affiliate link. So they have a link, they scan the QR code, and then it goes straight in with their affiliate link sort of factored in. So they'll get a 10% kickback for any bookings that their customers do. So they can put that into their rooms or whatever and have an ability to book. So the point of sale of a guide, we can put in all sorts of different places, and we can drive traffic. I think you're right. There's a good play for those type of tools and whatever comes out best. But also it's, our focus right now is the companies and the B2B. We like, there's a lot of ways in which we could go, and we may have to pivot again. We've pivoted a couple of times. The reason we built the B2C functionality is because the guides, a lot of them didn't understand what B2B meant, even though most of their bookings were coming from B2B. So we built B2C to give them some exposure and show them, but it's also like, it's pretty cool to build for the ChatGPT stuff. Like, it's exciting for nerds.
Yeah, that's the part I like. I was just thinking about the local thing. We're not going to get into it, but we need a definition on what is a local, right? Because I've been in San Francisco 28 years. I think my tour's pretty good. Probably not these days, but it's not always the local. It's do you have to be in a place for 5 years to be a local? But I won't get into that. But I like the ChatGPT stuff. I think getting the guide profiles in your MCP server, which you mentioned at the start, is pretty interesting. You could put some products on Shopify. Have you tried that yet?
We haven't.
Get them live on ChatGPT through Shopify and hack it and see if you can get some traffic. Interesting to try. I did ask Stripe if that was okay to try out, and they said, "Yeah, go for it. Why not?" It's not
interesting.
It's not meant for booking tour guides, but you could hack a couple of products on there and see what happens.
Yeah, we could test it out. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So we're about out of time. We'll wrap up I don't know if we'll do a speed round necessarily, but
No, we need to, Bruce, because Nick's lived in so many places, been to so many places. We need to do
well, your kind of speed round. Okay, so
yeah. Can we do that?
you can do that.
I love geography as well.
I have a different first question, and then
Yep.
you could. You're only in Scandinavia right now, right? So literally, like
no, we have guides in 15 countries now.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
Okay.
all over Europe. Yeah, and one in Indonesia, but he can't. Unfortunately, Stripe isn't working in Indonesia yet with the way the setup.
Well, talk to James, who was on our last show. Maybe he can help. So, how many guides are on the platform?
Just over 100 now. So we're very small right now, but we're expanding, and we've got.
So that's my question: 100 guides, 15 countries. A year from now, how many guides in how many countries?
Write this down.
Yeah, exactly. I'm hoping in a year from now we'll have at least 8,000 guides on the platform.
8,000 guides in how many countries?
I would guess about 30 countries.
So double the countries, and
yeah,
whatever that.
I'm hoping for more, but that's what we'll be able to get to.
Okay, Lori,
we're gonna have to.
Is the biggest opportunity and the biggest challenge for Nick?
I didn't hear what Lori
said. This is for Lori, actually.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, this is for me. And what is the biggest opportunity?
The biggest opportunity and what's going to be his biggest challenge?
I think one of his biggest challenges is probably going to be getting good guides, experienced guides that are that will sign up for his platform. I think that's probably going to be one of his biggest challenges. I think opportunity. Well, I mean, I don't know. I think the whole thing is an opportunity. I think the B2B aspect is probably his biggest opportunity with the DMCs, cracking that to me. Even more than, I like the idea that you're aligned with associations, but I think the DMCs, you need to get into those. That's to me where you're going to find the sweet spot. So maybe that's the biggest opportunity.
And for you, Christian, to the B2B or B2C question, but with AI specifically, like the integration with ChatGPT for the B2C, I mean, do you see that being disruptive and really taking customer right to guide and getting rid of all the layers in between, right? Or is it going to be the B2B tool that they could build and really just kind of blow it out with everybody that needs to access guides?
Yeah, I think the B2C is happening, but I think Nick's got the right approach on that. I don't think you can build a business on that yet because it's not really here yet. So you do need to have a business now to start building from. Otherwise, it's a bit of a promise, which may happen in a month, it may happen in a year, right? We're getting this actual bookings through ChatGPT. So I think it's right to have some. If you go B2B now, the traffic's sitting there waiting, the DMCs or the tour operators, whatever, sitting there waiting now. So it seems like the right approach. There are massive, big companies and many companies sitting in that B2B place. So that's a good market to go after now while you also work on the end game.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Very cool. That's really nice.
You can ask your question.
So this is, people getting annoyed, I think, because this is compressing a lot of data into the simple lists, but we need your top 3 countries you've been to without context and the top 3 countries that you haven't been that you want to go.
Okay, my favorite countries. I've been thinking a lot about this. So I have to say, I love living in Norway, and the fjords in Norway. If you've never been, you have to go. It's absolutely breathtaking, and it just fills you with life energy. So it's so unbelievably beautiful that it takes your breath away. And also in Lofoten up in northern Norway is absolutely stunning. So Norway, love it. Thailand, I'm just in love with that country. I've traveled a lot of it, and it's beautiful, beautiful people, land of smiles. It's beautiful food, and amazing experiences. And I do love Italy, actually. So I'll go and visit Giuseppe. So Italy is one of my favorite countries as well. I love the energy of Italian people. I have a lot more, but you asked for 3, and I think I can stick to those 3 as my top. But Brazil's a very close second because Brazil and Brazilian people, I just love their energy too. So
And then the 3 that you haven't been to that are your list of want to go.
I haven't been to. So I haven't traveled a lot of Africa, and I really would love to go and do safari down in Africa. I've been to South Africa, but I haven't done safari and things. I'd love to go and do that and see more of Africa. I know Africa is not a country, by the way. I'm very aware of that, but I haven't traveled much of Africa at all. So it may be somewhere like Namibia, Botswana, somewhere down in the South, like something like that, and do safari. Another country. I'd love to go to the Maldives. I've seen that. I've never been to the Maldives, and that looks amazing. And I think also, Machu Picchu. So Peru. That's Peru, right?
That's Peru.
Yeah, Machu Picchu. I've never been to either. So Peru is and I'd love to go there. So yeah, those are 3 I haven't been to. But I love traveling, and I'm very lucky to have had the opportunity to travel a lot. So. Very grateful for that.
It's interesting. Machu Picchu, everyone knows about. It's on everyone's bucket list. But you're a Thailand guy. You love Thailand. Hop on over to Cambodia and check out Angkor Wat, which is kind of not as well known, but just as amazing, maybe more amazing.
Yeah.
Christian and I. A quick story. Then we were in Cambodia together. I didn't know Christian as well then as I do now. This is maybe. Well, it was 2022. Was it 19?
No, 19 is right before COVID, yeah.
So it was 19. And we hung out for a few days after, and we agreed, let's go on a bike ride. We went on a mountain bike ride from the town called Siem Reap into Angkor Wat, which, there's known explosives that had not exploded yet. And there's this trail that looked like a cool trail, but it was said, don't go on this trail. Could be explosives. Christian's like, let's go.
Oh my God.
I thought they were trying to protect the grass. I thought they just wanted to, make sure the grass didn't get ruined.
That's what you thought.
You thought
and
there
it
were
turned out he was
unexploded
right.
bombs.
No problem. Nothing exploded.
Simple mistakes.
But Angkor Wat is really incredible. So if Machu Picchu's on the list, put Cambodia and Angkor Wat.
I've never been to Angkor Wat. I've actually never been to Cambodia. I've traveled a lot of Thailand, but never been to Cambodia or Laos. So actually, they probably should be in my list as well. But I've been to Vietnam quite a bit too. I've sort of skirted on them. But I'd love to. I love that kind of stuff. I'm very interested in it. So, and I'm very glad you guys didn't come up with anything. But if you're not living life on the edge, you're taking up too much space, right? So you got to do that trail sometimes. You got to take those risks.
Yeah. Well, listen, Nick, great to have you on Experience This. We'll look for you a year from now to go back and see how many countries and guides are on the platform. I think there's a lot of opportunity, obviously. I mean, how many guides are out there? Do you know how many guides are in the world?
Well, WFTGA said there's 210,000 certified guides in the world.
All right. So you only want 80,000 out of 210? No, 8,000 out of 210.
8,000 for next year, but I'm being conservative. Yeah, we have a contract with them as well, so like we could go bigger, but we got to manage our expectations as well. Like we need to build this right and build it that it's useful for everyone. So
great. Well, I think the industry will be rooting for you for sure. So
thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for having me on. It was a really great pleasure to meet you all, and I hope to meet you in person sometime.
All right, come to Arrival.
Thanks, Nick. Best a lot.
Thanks so much.
See you next time.
Okay.
Yeah.